to another edition of Between the Posts. Tommy Javor, joined by my good friend.
Lachie Gould is good to be here.
That is correct. First answer correct for the day. Here's your next one. Of course, the round 3 is in the books. It was the real stakes round.
Support your mates, not the stakes.
Visit realstakes.com.au. So it was a great round, mate, and it started off, obviously, you're out commentating every week. You saw a thriller, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was really, really good between PAC and Ross Trevor. That's coming up in the Division 1 wrap.
Yeah, we'll have a good long look at that. I was at Webb Oval to see the Hawks beat Glenunga in another thriller. Who's joining us today? One of my favourites.
Oh, it is the man, the myth, the legend. Jack Banwell is coming in to have a chat about Division 5.
He's also doing a bit of Division 1 commentary. He's everywhere. He's the everywhere man and very popular. Got some really interesting Facebook groups he's in. He's got a wealth of knowledge, that man. You like that, didn't you? All right, Lachie, we better talk about what's on today's show.
Yeah, so of course we mentioned we've got the Division 1 wrap, Beck's Division 1 wrap for the women's and of course Division Specialist Jack Banwell coming in.
Of course, we've got the Farmers League Coach of the Week coming from Jack's Div 5. What caught our eye with all three of us, the marks and goals of the week, and of course we'll be saying goodbye at the end with a new format, an exciting new format in the last word, just reverting back to an old format from about 20 years ago we started in the media. So it's going to be an exciting episode. Thanks to all our great sponsors. High Five e-bikes. I saw you on it this week. You looked at times a little bit shaky, but they're a lot of fun, aren't they?
They are really good fun. I got it up to a whopping 16 k's an hour. They can go as fast as 25, but I didn't dare go that quick.
Kimberley Resort, Customs by ORTC, The Gully, and so many more great sponsors, all in the Adelaide Footy League. Stay tuned. We're back with more Between the Posts. Division 1 wrap time with Tommy Javor and Lachie Gould. Lachie, you are our Stream Team superstar. What was the Stream Team game yesterday?
Yeah, we were out at PAC and Ross Trevor to see an absolute classic, and I'm not sure superstar is the right word, but I appreciate it.
No, mate, you're my superstar. It was PAC who led, well, by the looks of it, for large chunks of the second and third quarter, 12-6-78. The Rocks, 12-7-79. For those of you that aren't good at maths, that's a 1-point victory. One of the stars of the show, though, was Will Schmid, and mate, what a game. I did watch it back, to be honest, when I got home. I was pretty excited to watch your call and the game itself. Take us through the game. Yeah,
so both teams had real moments of opportunities, I guess. So Ross Trevor had their advantages in the second quarter, and they came home with that wet sail to win the game. PAC were really strong across the entire day. Will Schmidt was taking intercept mark after intercept mark after intercept mark. He would have ended up with 35 disposals. I'll be keen to have a bit of a look back through his stat line during the week, but it was a really, really great game of football from all involved. We thought they were home PAC with about 15 minutes to go. They were about 4 goals up, and then came the storm, and Ross Trevor were able to run over the top in that final quarter to get the job done by 1 point, and it was an absolute superstar of a goal.
Yeah, well, you've mentioned it. Now, enjoyed watching it back. Give us the young fella's name who kicked the winner, mate. Go on.
Matthew Dinestriansky.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know Matthew personally. I believe it is Dinestriansky. We've been rehearsing it. We're going to call you Matty D from now on. But come with the moment, come with the man, come with the Matty D. Let's have a look at this beauty for the win.
It's going to be mine. We're going to have a ball up.
This is where your tackling has to be good if you're Prince Alfred. You can't give away a sloppy free kick here.
Defending for their lives. The Prince Alfred snapped out of there. Dinestroy's got it. He's got it. He's kicked it. And Dinestrensky has kicked the goal.
Not sure where he come from, Dinestrensky.
I'm not even sure where he arrived in that contest, but he's kicked it.
Great goal and an excited young commentator. I loved it. Speaking of goal kickers, it was for PAC Bentley with 3, Garrels with 2, whilst the multiple goal scorers for Rocks were Xavier Tranther and Jet Boxer. Better players who won't appear in the votes or in the awards: Shoot, Mead, Big Butterworth in ruck, and Kemp. Was Kemp down fullback, sort of key defensive post?
He kind of varied a little bit. He ended up spending a little bit of time in the midfield as well.
Okay, excellent. And for PAC, good to see Joel's in the best players, Clark and Sumner, very reliable defender. I assume he was in defence.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yep, fantastic. Let's have a look at some of those award winners, and we'll start with the Moseley Best Team Player.
Yeah, it was Finn Wakeland. He was flying for absolutely everything.
Yeah, becoming one of my favourite players. I've enjoyed watching him. Of course, we've already shown the magic moment from Matty D. Never getting that name wrong again. And the best on ground, who won all the awards and all the spoils, was that man Xavier Tramford. Just tell me a little bit about his game.
Oh, in and under midfielder. I called it in the stream, one of the premier midfielders in the competition at the minute, and he's playing an absolute brilliant game. Just, gets in and under, wins the clearances out for his team first hand on the footy for Ross Trevor. Strong
body, strong core, and a great response to missing the shot last week, potentially to win them the game. So he's done well. Good, well done to young Xavier. And he's still pretty young, early 20s, I believe. All right, our Player of the Year award for the High Five E-Bike, as seen this week, ridden by Lachie Gould. 1 vote, Tulio Di Matteis from Rocks. 2 votes, Xavier Tramford. And Will Schmidt, in a losing team, I think he was that good, got the best on ground.
Yeah, he was comfortably the best player. He's unlucky to walk away with no Archies as well.
And it's a funny game, footy. They've gone from, they would have been top of the table undefeated and all in one moment, and that is Div 1. Drop your guard for a second.
Oh, yeah, but I'm sticking by them. I still think they'll make the grand final.
Okay, well, we've got a big challenge this week. All right, let's move on to our next one. And wow, you talked about green lights going off, and Amber, you had some weird thing about lights going off. We're talking red light specials at the moment at PNU because it was past Players Day, and I'm a past player, so I kept close on it. PNU 8-3-51, Spock 13-20-98. It's a 47-point win, but I mean, for me, the stat that jumps straight out at me is 33 scoring shots to 11 at Payneham. I don't remember a one-sided game like that before.
Yeah, Payneham are in a world of hurt. It's really, really bad up there at the minute, but expecting that they'll bounce back at some point. They've just got to get that run on before they fall too far behind the rest.
Yeah, first quarter, 7 scoring shots to 1. They were down by 11, 38, 54, and then ultimately 47. Let's look at the goal kickers, though. It was Viney with 3 and Wagner with 2 for the Falcons. Whilst for Spock, it was Bedford, Nelligan, Michaels and Reid with a brace apiece. I'm going to just take Spock. Some of the Spock people have been critical of me over the years because I just think they're almost like the cockroaches of Div 1. That you couldn't kill them, you couldn't get them out, and now they've arrived. Now they're a genuine, bona fide, real threat. I'm going to start tipping you, and I think Mike O'Leary's just got them humming, and their list looks good.
Yeah, well, Mike O'Leary in pre-season, he said to us that he was very, very confident that he'd had the right list around him. Now he was just waiting for that kind of bulk of the excitement to kind of just generate, and he was waiting to get some good players in. He got that this pre-season, and it's starting to pay dividends.
Yep. Lachie, you know I love a goal. And everyone loves a Jag Meatworks snag of the day. Let's have a look at this one from Lachie Di Cesare from Spock.
Line, can he collect it? Does well to get the ball out. And now the kick coming right from the boundary line. Oh, he gets it! Great hit there. Right on the boundary line, straight through the middle.
And well done to Lachie. He takes home a kilo of snags. Love a kilo of snags.
Oh, yeah,
especially Jag Meatworks snags. Is there a better snag in Adelaide?
Let me think about it. No, there's not.
You wouldn't think so. Okay. Better players that didn't appear in the votes. Ant, Gia, Viney, Wagner, all for PNU. Whilst it's good to see Big Ruckman, Big Kelly back, and Chris Danzig back from his suspension. For Spock, Weeks and Di Cesare were both very, very good. But all the votes were Spockos, and give them to us, please, Lachie Gould.
Yeah, so 1 Ty Bedford, 2 Henry Nelligan, and 3 Malachi Carruthers. He's had a great start to the season.
Yeah, there's just seems to be a really good balance. They just seem to have it all right at the moment, Spock, and I look forward to seeing them continue their successful run. Speaking of teams that are having a reasonable run, Port District, 19-13-127. Broadview Tigers, 5-5-35. It's a big, big margin there. 2 districts. It was Lysette with 5 and Louis Sherrod with 3, the major goal contributors. No multiple goal scorers for Broadview. And back in the votes and playing some really good footy. That man, he's hard to miss. Phil calls him Mr. Footy Sauce. Joey Haynes, he's a star.
Yeah, Joey Haynes, he's got that wonderful right foot that he uses to absolutely carve teams up, can kick a ball 60 metres, Tommy.
Yeah, and look, it's not pretty reading for the Tigers, who, I love them. They're just around the corner from me. I've got a lot of friends at Broadview, but they were down 26-0 at quarter time, and they lost all 4 quarters, 49-61-92. But look, let's look at some of their positive. Hamish Ralph, Tyler McKenzie, Ben Manning all had good games and appeared in the votes. But just looking at some of the commentators' notes, I love the commentators' notes. It was Port's transition that was elite. And it was the pressure they put on the Tigers that made the Tigers have probably problematic system in their forward entry. They just couldn't get quality entry. And it reminds me very much of the grand final last year against Glenunga.
Yeah, that's a great call. That's what happened there in that game. They cut down Glenunga. It looks like they did the same thing to Broadview yesterday.
Yeah, that pressure, when they bring that pressure game, well, they're the best in the league. So something to look out for other teams. Something else to look out for, we love these. A goal on debut. Let's have a look at Logan Rose.
He's now getting into the into the votes now. Just unselfishly again, gives a handball off to Rose. He's kicked a goal. The debutant, Logan Rose. They all get around him as well. Look at the players. Burns comes in, lifts him up.
Let's have a look at some of those better players who didn't make the votes. Young Harry Dwyer, Sam Grubby Gray, and of course Cooper Gaffney.
Have you ever not put Cooper Gaffney in Port District's best players?
I don't do the best players, I just read them, but he's a good footballer, isn't he? That left-footed architect, or Division 1 medalist in the grand final. I might have something to do with that one, but he's a good player, isn't he?
He's a good player.
Mitch, 3 goals in the grand final, good for him. But let's talk about the e-bike votes, please, Lachie.
Yeah, of course. So we had 1 Nash Haynes, 2 Louis Sharrod, and 3, well, it was Joey Haynes.
Of course, beautifully done. Let's move on to, well, I think you've got to probably call it an upset because Glenunga have lost their second home game of the year. You have to go back to 2020 to see them lose 2 home games in a year. Glenunga 8-13-61, Salisbury North 12-11-83. And what a game it was. Jake Wagner, what a star. He took the spoils. We're going to start straight away by looking at, you talk about pressure. The game is on the line. 22.5 minute mark of the last quarter. Let's have a look at a clutch goal from not Dave, but Jake Wagner.
Regarkas in pursuit. Russo, Wagner, O'Brien. That's a nice looking kick. Hell about. In hella room. 5 in the first 2 rounds. Strikes it okay, but it's pushing across. Mark! Wagner! I think this is the Jake variety.
It's the easier pocket to kick goals from here at Webb Oval. And with 22 gone, time on, and Glenunga with no interchanges. This might put a ribbon on it. I think you're spot on there, Jack.
He'll roll out onto the left. Slightly rushed. He kicks it. 2 massive goals in the last quarter for Wagner. And Salisbury North are running home like a steam train. 5 goals to none in this last quarter.
Yeah, an absolute beauty. Pressure goal there from Jake Wagner.
Yeah, but there was a better goal yesterday, wasn't there, Tommy?
There was, mate. And forget my Salisbury North hat. Adam Deacon, you absolute star. Just roll the footage and we'll talk over the top of this. It's not just the goal finish itself, but it's the lead into the goal, mate. There's 4 efforts here from Adam Deacon. There's 4 bounces. There's 2 handballs. There's 2 kicks. Ultimately finishing with a 35-metre right foot banana from the wrong pocket in front of the Glenunga ladies. Unbelievable effort from Adam Deacon.
Well, tell us a little bit more about Adam Deacon.
Well, he's a young star. He's come to us. He was a Central District best and fairest in the reserves last year, but he is a Salisbury North junior. So 0 point of getting, it's that, we call it that de-recruiting. You've got to promote people into the sample so they come back and they come back better players. And he has come back an absolute star. There's a lot of great recruits in Division 1, but he's certainly one of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, he is. Obviously, last week got the 3 votes and he was absolutely flawless yesterday.
Yeah, when the game was on the line as well, that's when the big players step up, and he did. Speaking of big players, let's look at the goal kickers for Glenunga. It was Abe Davis with 3. He was huge in the 3rd quarter, probably beaten across the other 3 quarters, but nearly stole the game from Salisbury North. And for Salisbury North, really impressive spread of 10 goal kickers. It always makes a coach happy when they share the load. Yeah,
they certainly do. It's really, really great when you got all your forwards firing. It's really hard to defend against them when you've got all 6 up and about.
We've mentioned Jake Wagner kicked 2. The other player that kicked 2, and I got his name wrong last night for my own club, Dom Costanzo kicked 2. Well done to Dom. Outstanding. Again, it was a great game to watch. Salisbury North led by 2. 3 late goals in the 2nd quarter got got Glenunga a lead. Then a big 3rd quarter, 14-point lead to Glenunga at 3-quarter time. But the last quarter, 6 goals, 2 to 2 points. It was all Salisbury North. Great fitness and incredible finish.
Yeah, it absolutely was. A brilliant game of football all around.
When are you going to tip him, mate? You haven't tipped him yet this year.
Yeah, keep waiting. It's not going to happen yet.
Better players that don't appear in the votes. Jesse Tammy was great down back for Glenunga. Oppers also, and Marini. Also, I want to mention, mate, you hate to see footballers get injured. One of the absolute stars of the comp, arguably the best forward over the last few years, Michael McMahon, snapped an Achilles, and that was just, it was right in front of me, and I hated it. Get well, Macca, you're a star. you hate to see good players get injured.
Yeah, you do, and hopefully Mac is back out there very shortly.
A couple of other players, I think Scotto got a head knock. Two other boys I coached at Glenunga and Fletcher Wiseman get well. I think he got a rib injury. I've been inquiring later. It's Sunday morning, so I haven't inquired yet, but I hope those guys are all right. Better players, Salisbury North. Big Bob Russo just goes from strength to strength on the ruck. Adam Deacon, as we've mentioned. Pearce, Muzzer Bastic. Oh, he's a solid unit. And the Fish also did a great job down back. But let's have a look at the votes, please, Lachie.
Yeah, so we had 1 Charlie Pridham, 2 Callum Hay, and 3 Jake Wagner. That man, he was incredible.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Callum Hay did the job on A, because A, big third quarter, but the rest of the day was all Cal Hay. And Charlie Pridham, shout out to him, that left-footed, he just finds the ball and somehow he's got those fast feet that move. He seems to create little lateral and goes this way, that way, and gets a bit of space when there's no space on Webb Oval. Really impressive game from Charlie Pridham, so well done. Glenunga 1 and 2, who would have thunked it?
Yeah, I know, not me. Well, they were almost 0-3, if not for Finn Wakeland's mistake last week.
Yeah, or Xavier Tramfers. You could look at it either way. I think Tramfer 40 metres out straight in front was probably the more likely of the two. But yeah, either way, they had the win and they need to bounce back this week. We'll see how they go. Our last game of the round was a thriller as well. Lots of good football. It was Golden Grove 10-8-68. Shock away from home 11-6-72. Bradley Noble for Sacred Heart was simply outstanding. The goal kickers for Golden Grove, Pascoe, Slater, Verity and Banwell all with 2. Whilst for the Shockers, Kakuro and Gloyus with 3 more. Hitting the scoreboard again. Sacred Heart undefeated at the top, making every post a winner.
Yeah, they certainly are. The only undefeated team left in the competition now. It will be very interesting to see how long that lasts, but they are in some fine form at the minute.
They didn't have it all their own way though, Lachie. They were down, they trailed by 2, 13 and 18, so they lost the first 3 quarters, but as good teams and fit teams do, they ran over the top and kicked accurately in the last quarter. 5 goals 2 to 1 goal 4. I love a Jag Meatworks snag of the day, mate. Let's have a look at Henry McAuliffe from the Sacred Heart Football Club.
To get it back to 13, a 2-goal margin, basically. And, oh, it's stuck out of the middle! Oh, my word! What a goal! That is one for the ages, Henry McAuliffe.
There's your Jag Meatworks goal of the day. Absolutely outstanding to Henry McAuliffe.
Beautifully done there, Henry. Now, mate, Div 1, it's so tight. You just can't afford to lose your home games. Golden Grove will be stinging with this one.
Yeah, they will be. That was quite unfortunate for them. Golden Grove are up obviously at the half, and when we checked in from Park 9, and then we thought they would probably be able to hold on, but they didn't in the end. Pretty upsetting for them, and it would sting a little bit.
And I mean, we're banging the drum a fair bit about how even Div 1 is, but Salisbury North from 14 points down, Sacred Heart from 18 points down. You lapse in Div 1, there's so much quality, you can drop the game. So, better players who didn't appear in the votes, Aidan Thatcher, fullback for Golden Grove, he just gives his all each time. Xanthopoulos, it's not that easy to say, Lachie, and Big Robinson in ruck. Whilst the Shocker, Brady Agnew continues his great season. Moroney, I'm going to mention Hunter Window every week, I've no doubt. And the Bone Crusher McRae was very good. But the votes, please, young fella.
Yep, so we're going to go with 1 Josh Glenn, 2 Jake Pittman, he can pick up votes in his sleep, and 3 Bradley Noble.
Yeah, well done. Beautifully done. Let's move straight onto that ladder, and it does make some interesting reading. There is one undefeated team, and that is Sacred Heart on 3-0. A host of teams on 2-1. Port, Spock, PAC, Salisbury North and Rocks. In a statistical anomaly, Salisbury North won by 23 points and dropped a position on the ladder. What can you say about that? In 7th place, Golden Grove 1 and 2 on 49%. I think they're okay.
Yeah.
Glenunga 1 and 2 on 47%. Need a win.
Yeah.
Two away losses. Then the worrying thing for PNU isn't just the 0 and 3. They're 8% behind 8th place as well. It almost feels like 2 games. They need to get a wriggle on right away.
Yeah, they basically need to win next week, or they're in some real trouble, and we'll start to talk about relegation and PNU in the same sentence.
Yeah, Broadie's 0 and 3. They will beat the team that takes them lightly. They're still a good unit, but they're 0 and 3, and they need a win. Let's look at this week's games, and it's Port and Golden Grove at Largs.
Yeah, should be Port there. They should get the job done.
Agreed. This one is mouthwatering for me. St. Peter's versus Glenunga at Caterer Oval.
Yeah, this one's going to go pretty close. I think Glenunga desperately need a win, but I'm going to back in St. Peter's. They've got a really good unit now.
None of the 3 injured players will be playing for Glenunga. I believe there's another player as well going away. Injuries are a problem. There's no excuses in Div 1 because they'll be putting 21 out there and 18 on the field. But I tip with some confidence for the first time in a while, and I think they're a good thing. St. Peter's, I just love what they're doing this year. Broadies in the Rocks.
Yeah, it should be Ross Trevor there pretty easily, I think.
If it goes down to a 1-point game, who knows? But that's been the last 2 games for Ross Trevor. But Ross Trevor's form line dictates they should win. Salisbury North and PAC. Yet to tip Salisbury North. It's not been missed by the boys down on Bagster Road, young fella.
That's fine. Let them keep coming. Because I'm backing in PAC. I said they'd make the grand final, so I've got to stick with that.
It'll be a close game. It'll be a quadrupled header down there. I'm tipping Salisbury North. And Sacred Heart and PNU. Through necessity, PNU must win. They cannot go 0-4. Will they?
No. Sacred Heart will stay undefeated.
Yeah, you'd be probably silly to tip anything else. I wouldn't be surprised if they could pull an upset because this is what they've been good at over the years. But for mine, Sacred Heart. This has been the Div 1 wrap. We'll be back with more Between the Posts.
Do you belong in a role that drives you? In a community that makes you proud? In a team that brings out your best? You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Well, it's time for your favourite part of the week, the BTR Excavations Division 1 Women's Wrap. We of course thank the Gully Hotel for hosting us again to talk all things women's footy. I'm Beck Northcote, and once again I'm in this awesome fit brought to you by Custom by ORTC. Check them out for all your custom clothing needs, and they're of course a great local business, so we say thanks to Custom by ORTC. Now, let's get into the footy. There's plenty to talk about, so here we go. Now, we're going to kick off with the Henley Sharks, who hosted Hectorville at Shark Park. Now, it was Henley who picked up where they left off in round 2 to collect another win. Henley 10-9-69 defeated Hectorville 3-6-24, a 45-point win to the Sharks. Now, Henley really kicked off. They kicked 2 goals for in the first term, holding Hectorville to just the 1 behind. And they held Hectorville goalless to halftime, and they didn't stop there, putting on 4 goals in the third term to Hectorville's 3. And the Sharks, they just finished off nice and strong and were just too good all day. Speaking of too good, Tegan Dunbar for the Sharks. Well, she kicked more goals than the opposition off her own boot. And that is a huge 5 goals for Tegan. And that takes her season total to 11, and she is leading the division 4 goals in Division 1. Now, it wasn't just the Dunbar show. Steph Rayner kicked 2 goals for the Sharks as well, and goals were also kicked by Demi Bates, Eliza Cooper and Chanel Ruger. No surprises though, our girl Tegan Dunbar was best on for the Sharks, who take themselves to 2 wins and 3rd spot on the ladder. I think they'd be pretty happy with that. For Hectorville, whilst it wasn't their day, Hannah Bentley, Grace Mulvihill and Sydney Pocock were all able to impact on the scoreboard with a goal each. Liana Riccici was their best player, and the Hounds now sit 7th with 1 win under their belt. They have a little bit of work to do, but I think they have the talent there at the club. It's just a matter of things all coming together, and we have still seen some strong signs from them already this season. Now, we move on to a close one at Goodwood, where the Saints hosted Happy Valley. And it was Happy Valley, can you believe it, coming through the win by just 4 points. Interestingly, Goodwood actually led at every break by 1 point, 8 point, and then 1 point, respectively, at the changes. But Happy Valley held the Saints to just 2 points in the final term to take the lead and record their 3rd win. Happy Valley take themselves now to 3 straight wins. Back in Division 1, now this is some impressive stuff. Even more impressive is how Happy Valley are managing to do this. Their winning margins so far this year have been 3 points in round 1, 3 points in round 2, and 4 points in round 3, as we've just said. They are the close game specialists, and interestingly as well, in each game, they have only kicked 4 goals themselves. So they are really good at just holding teams, really defensive specialists, holding well, and then just kicking the goals that they need to get the win. And 3 wins early in the season is really important, and just a great start to Happy Valley, as we said, back in Division 1. So really well done to them at the moment. For Goodwood, they'd of course be disappointed to lose at home, and they've got just 1 win for the season so far with 2 losses, putting them 6th on the ladder currently. It's not where they'd want to be, of course, but I don't think this will keep them down whatsoever. I do expect them to bounce back, and I think maybe it's just a few little tweaks here and there for the Saints, and we've got plenty more great footy to see from them in the coming rounds. Now, here we go. It is the 2024 Grand Final rematch between Payneham and Broadview, and it was another absolute classic between these 2 teams. This time, only 9 points could separate them, and it was our reigning premiers, Payneham, who took it out. Payneham 7-7-49 defeated Broadview 6-4-40. And it wasn't without a final quarter scare. The Tigers, after being held to 1-3 at 3-quarter time, stormed home with 5 goals in the final term. But it was unfortunately a little bit too late, with the early Payneham lead was just too much, and they managed to hold on. But there was plenty to love here from both teams, and much like the 2024 Grand Final, a game of ups and downs, inconsistencies from both teams, and moments in the game where both teams took control. So very similar to what we saw in that Grand Final. Now, Payneham, well, they worked hard all day, of course. Alice Tentai, she was named Best Player. She also kicked a goal, as did Kristen Gadecki. Micaiah Bryant kicked 2, and Letitia Ackland kicked 3. Payneham, will they take themselves to that familiar spot, top of the ladder? They do know it well. They're sailing along very nicely in their premiership defence. For Broadview, Caitlin McMahon was their best performer, and their goals came through 2 to Kellis Jackson Martin and singles to Taylor Gordon, Amy Jones, Lucy Mossolino and Chloe Short. They hold on to 4th spot by percentage, and there's plenty of teams trying to get into that top 4 spot and jump over them. They would obviously have been hoping to bounce back from their loss in round 2, but it just wasn't to be. There is still plenty to love for Broadview, of course, as a team. And, I think they've still put a little bit of the fear in Payneham with what we saw in that last quarter. And overall, I'd say it was a good leveler for both teams in terms of knowing where they both sit right now in terms of the competition. So now for our final clash in the BTR Excavations Division 1 Women Comp, and we travel to Kellett Reserve to see Morphettville Park hosting Golden Grove. And it was a convincing win to Morphettville Park by 90 points. Morphettville Park 17-6-108 to Golden Grove 2-6-18. And it was a grand day out at home for the Roos, who started with a 4-goal quarter, a 3-goal quarter, another 3-goal quarter, and came home with a massive 7-goal final term. How about them Roos? And they shared it around, of course, with 10 different goal scorers. Highlights were Georgia Eldridge kicking 4, Melinda Speechley and Caitlin Swanson with 3 goals each, as well as some single goal scorers, Big, Christophers, Hoyle, Maple, Trevina, Watson and Zarella. Georgia Eldridge was named best on for the Roos, best of the lot there. For Golden Grove, Demi Sonneman and Talia Uncle kicked their scores, with Alexis Cook their best contributor. Now, it's been a bit of a rough start to the year for Golden Grove, and they're still looking for their first win. But we know from last season, at their best, they can take it up to any team in this competition. We just need them to get to those levels that we saw in 2024 and bring it into this season. Let's hope that's not too far away for Golden Grove. For the Roos, will they get their first win of the season, and convincingly so? And to be fair, they have played the top 2 teams leading up to this as well. So we're probably not seeing an accurate reflection of where they sit on the ladder, but time will tell. Now, speaking of the ladder, let's just have a look at it. I have mentioned where everyone's sitting, but it's probably good to just go through it again all at once. We, of course, have Payneham and Happy Valley sitting in those top 2 spots, both undefeated. Payneham, they've got a really healthy percentage, so they're sitting in that top spot nicely. Henley, they're in 3rd, 2 wins, 1 loss, and they have got a really good percentage, so they'll be pushing into those top 2 spots as well. Now, we see quite a few teams in that middle range, as I said, battling for that 4th position at the moment. Broadview, Morphettville Park, Goodwood and Hectorville all sitting on that 1 win, 2 losses. So it's going to be really important matches for all these teams in the next few weeks to really try and push themselves up the ladder. And Golden Grove, as I said, they're yet to see their first win of the season, but we hope to see some more success in the coming rounds for Golden Grove. Looking to round 4, and there are some really great matchups that we are going to see. Payneham and Happy Valley, as I said, the top 2, well, they're taking each other on in round 4, and this could absolutely go either way because, of course, Happy Valley coming up from Division 2, Payneham haven't really got to see what they're like. So I think this will be one to keep an eye on. You know, if you're looking to go out to some women's footy next weekend, Payneham and Happy Valley, I think that's one to watch. Another solid lineup, we've got Goodwood and Henley, and I think this will be a good battle as well for Henley. I think if they can win this game, they'll really prove themselves as a top 4 team. But as I said, Goodwood, they've got a lot to play for at the moment, and they really want to get back to their best footy. Then we've got Hectorville and Golden Grove and Morphettville Park and Broadview. I think that's going to be a really solid lineup as well. As I said, 2 of those mid-range teams looking to prove themselves in Division 1 this season. So there's just so much to love in Division 1 at the moment, so many girls playing great footy, and there is, of course, so much to come. Now, we'll have a quick look around the grounds because, you know, I've always got people messaging me with things that are going on in different divisions, and I'm always looking for something to talk about because whilst we love Division 1 and talking about Division 1, there's plenty more women's footy out there to see. So let's start with Division 5, where we saw a 112-point win to the girls at Salisbury North over Adelaide Uni. And featuring, you know it, a big bag of goals. Huge congratulations to Salisbury North's Beck Wanganeen, who kicked 10 absolutely lethal goals. And from what I hear, 10 goals, 1 point. So how's the accuracy on that boot? I hope she's just polishing off that boot nicely today and resting her kicking foot, because that is a full sleigh from Beck Wanganeen. I love it. I always love to hear stories like this going around the grounds. Now, also in Division 5, we saw a great win to St. Peter's Wilderness, who kicked 24 goals as a team. Now, when I say as a team, I fully mean it because they had each of their 16 listed players who kicked a goal. So sharing it around got everyone a goal on the team. So that's something I love to see. Now, in Division 6, let's have a look at what's going on there. If you thought one 10-goal haul was a lot, well, let me tell you, we had another 10-goal star over at the Seaton Ramblers. Chloe Forby, can you believe it? She kicked 10 goals as well. So that is 2 10-goal goddesses in one weekend. So absolute queen stuff from our girls, Chloe at Seaton and Beck at Salisbury North. Keep kicking those goals. We love to see it. So well done to all women and girls who played over the weekend in the Adelaide Footy League. Don't forget, if you see something worth mentioning in the women's wrap, send me a message. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to get around your team. Thanks for watching the Women's Wrap. I'll see you soon.
It's time for our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week, and it comes to us from the 5AA Division 5 competition. Congratulations to the coach of the Marion Rams. It's Sean Bazand. Sean, coming off an 84-point win over Salisbury this week, sees his team sit 3-0 with a 72.64% win rate, 9% clear of the chasing pack. Here's a big game this week against Pulteney. A little bit about Sean. He's a 5-time male medalist, a 2018 Premiership player with Marion, and he's coached previously at Neil and Birdwood. He's making every poster winner, and it's an exciting time for the Marion Rams under Sean. Congratulations, you're our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. Division 5 wrap time, and I'm joined by the man we call the Wizard, Jack Banwell.
Excited to be here, Tommy.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, mate. I'm nervous because you were great when we first met at the last show, the pre-season show. But you've had 3 rounds, a little bit of a snapshot. Let's dig into the minutiae.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a bit of a 3-horse race in Division 5, but it's still looking to be an exciting comp as well. It's a bit of a logjam in the ladder as well. So we'll go through some of the results. In round 1, Gazer, they didn't get up in round 1. They were one of your teams that you fancied to be a bit of a smoky there, Tommy.
Yeah, might have got that one wrong. Points. Thanks for that.
No worries. And Marion and Eastern Park, who are sitting top after round 3, they got off to a red-hot start in round 1, both kicking 100 points apiece and getting healthy wins there.
Let's have a look at round 2 now, mate. And a bit of a trend starting. Marion starting to stamp their authority.
Yeah, definitely. Marion and Eastern Park and Greenacres as well. They all recorded very nice wins. Greenacres by 73, Marion by 78. Another result that caught my eye in round 2 was Paraka getting their first win of the year by 1 point against Trinity. So that left Trinity 0-2 after 2 rounds, and they were finding themselves in a bit of a tough spot. But
Round 3, of course, was the real stakes round. Support your mates, not the stakes. Visit realstakes.com.au. What happened in round 3, mate?
Trinity got their first win of the year by 4 points against Woodville South, and Greenacres, Marion and Eastern Park all getting another healthy win on the weekend. Greenacres by 43 points against Pulteney, Eastern Park beating Portland by 91, and Marion with a tough away trip to Salisbury. It's a very tough ground to play there. They won by 84 points. So those 3 teams are definitely stamping their mark on the competition in Div 5.
Yes, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but pretty excited that a couple of those might be looking horns this week. But keep on going, my friend.
They certainly are. We'll look to the ladder now, and as I've alluded to, Marion, Eastern Park and Greenacres all undefeated with 3 wins apiece. Marion, average winning margin of 70 points, Eastern Park 52, Greenacres with 42-point average winning margin. And just a quick note on Marion and Eastern Park, the only 2 teams in Division 3 to kick 100 points in all 3 games, so they are smashing it.
Great for their spectators as well, you know, because Eastern Park have always, when they're going well, they're well supported, and that oval, a bunch of people getting around, and to see your team score high, and it's a small ground, and then you look at Marion, it's a big ground. You say it was Marion as a fly around, isn't there?
Yeah,
Has Marion have also averaged 100 points a game?
They have,
It's a fair effort because it is a big deck out there and it's beautiful. Have you watched a game at Marion yet?
I think I've watched one back in the day, yeah.
Brilliant club room, and they've got the deck on top.
Yeah.
It's a great, really well, infrastructure-wise, a beautifully set up club.
Just on Eastern Park, it's not hard to know how good they're going when Chris Knapp's all over Facebook telling everyone how good he is and how good Eastern Park are. So that's a little shout out for you there, Nappy.
I reckon he named himself the best centre-half back in the world ever.
Yeah. Even though he kicked 100 goals last year, I think he was calling himself James Sicily or something like that.
He's reinvented himself. It's good banter, isn't it? So, yeah.
Anyway,
carry on.
Back to the ladder. Paraka, this is where it gets a little bit interesting in Division 5. Even though there's a really clear 3-horse race, I think, for potentially grand final spot, from 4 to 8, there's only 1 game in between, and it just goes to show how close the comp is. Paraka, back-to-back close wins by 1 and 3 points. They sit 4th on 2 points, whereas we go down the bottom, unfortunately, Woody South and Gazer haven't got a win yet, but they've also had 2 close losses each, 6 points and 4 points for Woody South, and Gazer 3 points and 9 points. If they could have turned those into 2 wins, we could be seeing them in the top 5 as well. So it's not all doom and gloom at Woody South and at Gazer. Hang in there, the wins will come, and we'll see you guys up the ladder, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, interesting to see Paraka as well doing. There was a lot of prophets of doom last year. They seem to have steadied and stabilised. And if you are a visiting team going to Paraka, take your kids. I know we're here to talk about footy. The best flying fox in Adelaide out at the Paraka Footy Club.
Oh, there is, just at the back there, isn't there?
They've got 3 playgrounds. It's actually a great place to take your kids to and to watch footy. So an inviting club, and I do like the Paraka boys.
Under a very smart man there, Scotty Sandico.
Yeah,
I got his last name wrong, and he let me know about it in the preview in the pre-season. So thanks, Scotty. I know you'll be watching. On to the goal kickers. Stephen Clark for Greenacres has got off to a red-hot start, 16 goals. Robbie Kovacic and Joel Aish from Eastern Park and Pulteney respectively, they have 14 goals apiece. And at third spot is Cameron Bell for Woody South. He has 8 goals. Interesting to see that even though Marion have kicked 100 points in all 3 games, Their leading goal kicker is Ben Miller with only 7 goals, so they have a really good spread of goal kickers. And just one to watch, Tim Stewart, he come in for the first game of the year and he kicked a lazy 4 snags, so maybe we could see his name start to propel up the goal kicking leaderboard. Yeah,
Robbie Kovacic is a really good came in mid-season last year for Eastern Park. He's that big-bodied, big, strong, takes a good pack mark, and they've still got some weapons up there at Eastern Park. Plenty of players to watch, and like Marion, you just don't know where to send your best defender.
Should we look to round 4, Tommy?
Oh, absolutely, because I'm excited about round 4.
There is some ripping games. I like the look of all of these games. There is a lot on the line for all 5 of them. We'll just run from the top. Gazer versus Salisbury, that's 10th versus 7th, but as I've alluded to, Gazer a couple of close losses. Salisbury with a great round 1 win, and then the last 2 games they've come up against Greenacres and Marion, and they found it difficult, but I expect this game to be an absolute cliffhanger at Clemsig Reserve. The game of the round, Tommy.
Hang on, Wizard. We don't come on here and not tip. You're the Div 5 expert. Put it on the line, mate.
My old mob, Salisbury. They'll get the job done.
I'm going to take Gazer to get their first win. They got the numbers. Matt Downey doing great things. Be a good battle of 2 good coaches there, Brett Joseph and Matt Downey, but I think Gazer might get their first win.
Greenacres and Eastern Park at the jail.
The battle of the dragon and the demon at the jail. How good. Yatala College preview away, my friend.
3rd versus 2nd. I'm going to take the home team. If it was at Eastern Park, I'd be taking Eastern Park, but I'm going to take Greenacres in this one.
Yeah, harder to pick than the old broken nose. I'm going to take the Demons of Eastern Park. Too many weapons.
Just on that, I think it might be a bit of high school versus primary school sort of stuff. Greenacres, they're the solid team in Div 5. They might just kick the young boys that have come up from Div 6 and just take them down a little bit of a notch. So Greenacres for me there. Marion versus Pulteney, 1st versus 5th. That's down at Marion. I think Marion will get the chocolates there. What are your thoughts?
Agreed.
Paraka versus Woody South. This should be a close game with both teams involved in several close finishes across the start of the year. I'm going to take Paraka at home, and on the fact that they've won 2 close ones in a row, that can hold them in good stead to get the job done at home.
Yes, after the removal of the 6 original light towers this week, they had 12 light towers there going for a little while. Now they're down to 6 good ones. Good to see new lights. Paraka will get the job done.
Last game of the round, Trinity Old Scholars versus Portland. I'm going to take Trinity in this one. One of the longest away trips in footy, I would have thought, going down to Gawler. They seem to be in good form after losing in round 1 and round 2, getting their first win on the weekend. I think they're just building nicely down there at Trinity. And a little shout out to Nick Hooker, a young fella I played district cricket with all those years ago. He's back to the club after spending some time in the Northern Territory. He's been best players in all 3 games.
Well done to young Hooks, and I think they will win quite comfortably, mate.
That's about all we've got for the Division 5 wrap, Tommy. What are your thoughts?
Just a quick one, mate. We like to own our successes and our failures, and I did tip at the start of the year Eastern Park and Marion to make the grand final. Feeling pretty good about that. But did you want to ask me about my medal tip?
Yeah, I believe there was a man named Joel Holloway you might have said that might win the medal.
Yeah, no, that one been and gone before the season, signed but has left for another league. So tipping he won't actually win the medal. But it's a shame because you want to see the best footballers in our league, and he is a superstar, but he'll be plying his trade elsewhere. So Eastern Park's lost, but they seem to be doing all right without him. So I got that one wrong.
I believe I went Marion and Greenacres, I think, for the grand final, with Eastern Park potentially the third one in there. So all 3 of those teams looking red hot, and they'll be there at the pointy end of the season. I have no doubt about that.
What a wonderful and comprehensive look at Div 5 from my favourite Banwell, Jack. And a man by many names. I've called him Jed, his brother who plays for Golden Grove. I've called him the Wizard, but mate, it was great effort by you. Thanks for all your input.
No, not a problem, Tommy. Loved it. Loved Division 5. Good luck to all teams across the weekend and the rest of the season.
We'll see you in about 6 weeks or 7 weeks for another Div 5 wrap. We're back with more Between the Posts. It's time to look around the league and see what caught our eye. All right, let's get straight into it. I love that part, Lachie. Great to have you here with us, Jack. Or we'll just call you Jack. All right, starting in Division 7, and I previewed this one, so we're stepping back. Game of the round, and it certainly was Brahma Lodge and Hacken. Well, it was Brahma who actually got the job done by 2 points. All 6 players we previewed in the best players, so good to see that we got something right. But a huge win there for the boys from the Lodge.
Yeah, I had something very similar. I was speaking to Hackham's coach during the week. We both worked together, and he was pretty.
The great Blake Derra.
The great Blake Derra. Yeah, no, he was pretty calm on the game plan, but I guess it didn't work out for him.
Oh, nice little backhander there for Blakey. Yeah.
Elizabeth have responded in emphatic form. They've won on the weekend by 192 points, and they also won by 200 in round 1.
Yeah, great stuff there. And what I loved on their socials this week was they actually had the message, stay humble. We've been on the other side of this. So they're having some great results. It's turned for that club. Well done, Eagles, but staying humble is a great message to your network and your players. Good stuff, Eagles. What do you got for us in Div 6, Wizard?
OSB Lonsdale recorded their first win by 3 points on the weekend.
You did that very well.
Yeah, Para Hills kicked 23 goals. Weetra kicked 10 of those. And Ross Water beat St. Paul's, who kicked also over 100 points.
Yeah, for me, it was the top 3, and we were all cock-a-hoop last week, certain on who the top 3 were. Top 3 all got done. Houghton over Ingle Farm by 8. OSB, as you mentioned, over the Roys by 3. And Rosewater gave St. Paul's a lesson by 45 points, which I'm not going to lie, shocked me. Well done to the Bulldogs from Rosewater. Div 5, Lachie.
Yeah, so Marion, Eastern Park, Greenacres all fighting for promotion. Woodville South and Garza looking dangerous for the drop.
Yeah, just on the 3 undefeated teams in Div 5, average winning margin of 54 points between the 3 of them.
Yeah, now I've got a similar theme. It was Greenacres by 43 over Pulteney, Eastern Park by 91 over Portland, which sets up a mouth-watering clash, and I'm just around the corner. I'd love to get there, but I can't. It's the Dragons and the Demons at the jail. I'm not even joking. Our beloved Greenacres Dragons take on the might of the Eastern Park Demons, and they're playing at LJ Lewis Reserve, which is, of course, next to, as Vince Cosme used to call it, Yatala College or Yatala Prison. It's going to be a tough, hard-fought game, and if you are living local, get on down to see that one. Div 4, please. Jacko.
Colonel Light Gardens, after losing Div 5 Grand Final and getting promotion to Div 4, they're sitting top undefeated in Division 4, so they're going great guns.
Yeah, I had all the games aside from Morphettville Park and Hectorville ended with either a margin over 14 goals or a margin of under 1 goal. So Plimpton and Walkerville was Walkerville by 8. Oh, actually, not under 1 goal, under 2 goals. Walkerville by 8. Colonel Light Gardens versus Smosh Westlake. Colonel Light Gardens by 85 points. CBC versus Jeps Cross. Jeps Cross got the job done by 4 points. And Mitcham versus Kenilworth. Mitcham by 90 points, and that was Mitcham's first win of the season.
Good way to kick off your first win. Obviously, I love all these local clubs, and I try and support them as much as I can. I get down to Jeps Cross a fair bit for their cheap lunches, and under new coach Jed Pfeiffer, just having a look at the turnaround, 100-point round 1 loss, and then the 2-week break. The wheels could have fallen off, but 2 very, very narrow wins. This one led by Shane Faulkner and Dom Barry. He's a superstar. A 4-point win over CBC. Jeps Cross are now 2-1 when they looked in all sorts of strife. So well done to Big Jed Pfeiffer, who of course is the coach of Jeps Cross, who play at Northgate Community Club at Duncan Fraser Reserve. If that doesn't confuse you, nothing will. But they're on fire. Div 3, please. Jacko.
Kilburn and North Haven lost in round 3, unfortunately for them. That leaves Division 3 with the only division with no undefeated teams left.
Wow, that's a good stat.
It is. The other thing I had for Division 3 was that only Edwardstown kicked over 100 points this round, and Hope Valley also remain winless.
Yep, it was a thriller out at. It was Westminster kicked 3 late goals to snatch a 1-point win over Unley Mercedes, who have been my premiership fancy. So that is a huge win to the Dragons of Westminster. I had a bit more of a look at their list and I was like, well, how did that happen? Well, Andrew Bradley, Christian Rookie and Nick Leck, they've got some talent in that Westminster Dragons team. Perhaps I've underestimated them a little bit, just how far they might be able to go this year. Div 2, please, Lachie.
Yeah, so Brighton, just looking at the promoted teams this week, Brighton only have 1 win for the entire season, and Tea Tree Gully got their first loss versus Athelstone. Just on Athelstone, it's only them and Goodwood Saints that remain undefeated.
It was a Div 3 Grand Final rematch from last year in Div 2 on the weekend, and it was the same result this time round, Henley getting the win on the weekend.
Yes, they only had one small hiccup last week. Nice spot there, Jacko. For mine in Div 2, and it's announcement time. We've got new premiership favourites. The Athelston Raggies under Matt Knight are taking all before them. Gullies, a 24-point win to the Raggies there. It was Aaron Stewart, best on ground, and Caleb Barton, super talented. He's appeared in our goal of the week before, kicking 3. Watch out for the Raggies. They are for real. Div 1, please, Lachie.
Yeah, so there's a few things to go through, but of course you can watch that on the Division 1 wrap as well. Payneham are now 0-3 after being 1 win away from a grand final last year, and Port District made Broadview look second rate. Glenunga could have easily been 0-3 after the Hawks got a win, and 2 teams that won by under a goal were also away. So Shock versus Golden Grove, which will Shock remain undefeated after 2 close wins, and Ross Trevor versus PAC, Ross Trevor the away team getting it done by under a goal as well.
Yeah, you must win those close games in Div 1, or you can go from finals fancy to relegation potentially. That's Div 1. Beautifully done. Jacko?
St. Peter's, despite getting 2 really impressive victories over the last couple of weeks, maybe this week and in the weeks coming, there'll be some goal kicking practice. They've kicked 20 behinds in the last 2 weeks. So good job, Spockos, but you could be winning by a lot more.
Yeah, well, you take the win. They're creating a lot of opportunities. They are a good-looking team. Mine was the Matty D super goal to get the win there for the Rocks. Make sure you check that out in the Division 1 wrap. Boys, you've been outstanding. The young Boffin, Lachie Gould, the wizard, Jack Banwell. Thanks for joining me for What Caught Our Eye. We'll be back more next week with a look across the 7 divisions. Welcome back to Between the Posts. I love this segment. It's the Mark of the Week. Remember, get your marks into Darcy at filmingfooty.com.au so your club and players can be represented. Let's have a look at this week's Marks of the Week.
Yes, we are 29 minutes in nearly to his first termers. We go long down the line, centre right, Lamb said, oh, what a grab there! Down the line, centre right, Lamb said, oh, what a grab there!
Quickly now, going inside 450, this might be their best chance. Good mark taken, diving to the ground. 50, this might be their best chance. Good mark taken, diving to the ground.
Welcome back to Between the Post. It's time for Goals of the Week. Remember, get your players and clubs represented by sending them in to Darcy at filmingfooty.com.au. Let's have a look at this week's Snags.
Short period possession Adelaide, and now pushing all the way down to half-back. Deacon, shining home, wins it, 1-2 with Bastic. Deacon pointing down the near wing here at Web Oval. Just gliding back to Gazelle. Collins, he's thinking the last. Sticks on off his head, Deacon get his game. Deacon for nowhere. Bounces in front of the target, Rams looking to clear off the deck. They're in big trouble, dumping tackle. Look dangerous. Deacon! Something else. They're in big trouble, dumping tackle. Look dangerous! Deacon! Something out of nothing!
Forward line, can you collect it? Does well to get the ball out. And now the kick coming right from the boundary line. He gets it! Great hit there. Right on the boundary line. Does well to get the ball out. And now the kick coming right from the boundary line. He gets it! Great hit there.
Lachie, it is time for the last word, brought to us by Sapol. Hopefully, it's been another great show for our viewers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had fun, so hopefully that's come through.
That's the most important bit. Now, we are changing up the last word each week because the Adelaide Footy League is all about strengthening communities through football. Now, we want to reach out and connect with the community just a little bit more. So I'm bringing back an old grassroots segment from many, many years ago, when we did the media 20 years ago. Milestones, births and marriages. We want to know, we're obviously mainly going to get milestones, but we care. We like to see it. We love to see the new arrivals for players, the marriages, hopefully not during season, but the milestones in particular. And we're starting with 3 milestones this week, and I saw one of them firsthand. It was a man they call the Silver Fox, Anthony Edwards, playing his 300th game for Glenunga Football Club. They put on a great show. Have you heard some of the players that played in that game?
No, I haven't. Enlighten us.
At the expense of my beloved Salisbury North, 2 ex-AFL, 2 ex-Sample players, guys like Nathan Grimer, Michael Wunke, the meatball Tom Hurley, and Big Procopec, and fair to say they got the chocolates for the old Silver Fox. That was pretty cool. But it's not just about Div 1. In Div 7, we had a big one, didn't we?
Yeah, 150 games for Chris Ryan. He's out at Brummer Lodge. So that's really good to see as well.
Yeah, and the last one, again, in one of the lower divisions, he's played his 400th game. Only the second player in Golden Grove club history to do that. It was Adam Peterson from Golden Grove, and plenty of fanfare around that. That's our milestones for this week, and we look forward to bringing you many more. How can the people get their milestones on Between the Posts?
Yeah, so you just got to reach out to darcy@filmingfooty.com.au and you can reach out there and be able to get your milestones on.
The other way, of course, is reaching out to Lachie or myself directly. We obviously are very approachable and we want to share your club stories. Don't make up any milestones. We don't want to see Jono's 75th beer on a Saturday night. We want to see game milestones, and someone like Paul Dittmar celebrating 50 years at Paraka last year was fantastic. So they're the kind of things we want to share with the community. It's been a lot of fun, hasn't it, mate?
Oh, it always is. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Oh, my pleasure, mate. We're back next week with more Between the Posts.